On My Block, the super hit teen comic drama from Netflix, is something that many have come to appreciate. The story narrates about energetic teens living with a low income in an LA neighborhood. The series is all about how they start their new life within a new high school and showing their life struggles in the process.
Might get us both killed, but if it works, it'll be a totally boss story. Cool.
So far, the series has had 3 successful seasons, and season 4 is on the way and is currently in production. And naturally, that goes and raises questions about what to anticipate for that 4th season in terms of characters, plotlines, and more. So allow us to show you 7 things to expect from On My Block Season 4. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 7. An overview of On My Block. To understand what's coming next, you have to go and understand what the show is truly all about. The story is all about 4 friends, named Ruby, Monse, Jamal, and Caesar. Season 1 revolves around the relationship between Monse and Caesar. Caesar's character is displayed as a playboy in this season, where he dates Olivia immediately after the breakup with Monse, though the relationship is not long-lasting. You know, a typical romantic trope. Meanwhile, Ruby has feelings for Olivia, but she isn't so lucky to have Olivia at the end of the season for reasons you need to see for yourself. Where the 2nd season started was with the same story. The teenagers got into trouble, and at the end of the season, they were all being kidnapped. Where Season 3 ended up, in terms of plot, was with more suspense and drama. And thus why Season 4 will be the final season, because things are just building up to a crescendo. The show includes all the love, romance, betrayal, and problems that teenagers have been shown to go through in this kind of genre. Hence, the wait for Season 4 is more worth it. Number 6. The 4th season announcement. On My Block was very popular with its first 3 seasons, but the wait for the 4th season announcement wasn't as straightforward as you might expect. Or perhaps you did expect that, given that Season 3 arrived before the pandemic came to pass in Hollywood. The lockdown that followed hurt a lot of shows, both in terms of renewals and canceled renewals like Glow and Stumptown, and whether shows would get picked up or allowed to continue, given that there wasn't any indication at the time whether the lockdown would lift in the following months. It's worth noting that back in July 2020, Netflix had been actively developing the 4th season. But with COVID-19, it seemed any decision on greenlighting the 4th season was held back until it was clear when the dust was going to settle. After months of waiting, speculation, and sometimes agony for the fans, Netflix announced on January 28th that it would be returning for a 4th season. The announcement came with a video that says, "Their story isn't over," showing that On My Block was going to be coming back. And as it turned out, this upcoming season will be the final one. Number 5. Production on Season 4. Given the coronavirus outbreak disrupting almost everything concerning production, it's super difficult to predict the future right now in terms of when On My Block Season 4 will land. Around the time of the renewal, The Hollywood Reporter stated that production was due to begin in March 2021, which makes it unclear whether the series would be able to squeeze into 2021 or more likely land, in our opinion, in 2022. Further to this, we learned in February 2021 that production on Season 4 was due to start on March 22, 2021, and wrap up on June 7, 2021. Now, that does mean that the show is in production right now, and that's a good thing to be sure. However, that also means that the production schedule is going to be dependent on the situation in their filming area, in terms of pandemic case spikes and so on, as well as keeping their cast and crew safe. We've already heard from fellow Netflix series stars that production is much slower due to the pandemic restrictions, and sometimes filming takes a lot longer than anticipated. Furthermore, post-production will be a factor, and Netflix will want to go and promote the final season before it launches, so at best, the 4th season may arrive in late 2021. But more than likely, it will arrive in early 2022. Maybe even pulling a Cobra Kai Season 3 and launching on January 1st to kick off the year in style. Number 4. The pay increase. So you might be wondering why a popular show like On My Block is ending after 4 seasons, when it could easily go on for longer and be one of the longer-lasting hits on Netflix. One of the largely publicized reasons for the show potentially ending is the spiraling cost of keeping the show going. After a very public battle to get a pay raise, the show's main stars have seen their pay bump from $200K per episode in Seasons 1 and 2 to up to $850K for Season 4. That number would have hit $1 million had the show been renewed for Season 5. Netflix is often about cost management, and that's honestly why only a select handful of their shows that they make go past a certain amount of seasons, especially when it comes to live-action shows. If they feel it's too costly to keep a show going, yeah, they're going to shut it down. That'll make fans sad for sure, but at least they got 4 seasons of content before that happened. Number 3. How the Season 3 finale sets up Season 4's start. The finale once again had fans of On My Block tripping with a 2-year time jump, taking place towards the end of the episode, and saw all our favorite characters grown up living their older lives. Though we didn't see everything, we did get a lot of indications on how the main crew ended up, and fans have questions, such as them wanting to know what happens to Monse and Caesar between Season 3's modern timeline and the time jump. Perhaps most importantly, we should learn more about Spooky. Has he completely got out of the gang life? The time jump certainly suggests he has, but it's not clear, and fans will definitely want clarity on that. In contrast, Caesar has risen to the top of the game, but how he rose to that position is not known, and something that'll definitely be expanded upon and maybe even flaunted in Season 4. Of course, with the time jump, we're desperate to know who is keeping in touch. Will the gang have a reunion, or has the group splintered? Time jumps are a classic way to add new story elements to things. And given that this is the last season of the show, it makes it that they'll want to do something a bit dramatic to showcase the characters in new situations, before going full tilt with the story itself. Number 2. Separate the kids. A perfect segue from before is to talk about how Season 4 has kind of been foretold by showrunner Lauren Lungerich for a while now, mainly because she's always had a goal in mind when it comes to the group's story. It was always a conversation of, how do we separate these kids? As part of the whole fabric of the show. We knew we wanted to see conflict with their friends and this notion of examining who stays in your life and who doesn't. And the writing was always on the wall. They've all seen each other as friends and as a collection of individuals that make a group. And they are now really starting to identify on their own as separate individuals, Lungerich told Entertainment Weekly back in 2018. And so we're on that precipice with them as we're taking on the challenges of having new identities separate from each other, but yet they still want to be together. I think that's really what happens when you go to high school. You start to carve out what your place in the world is going to be. And sometimes that's in conflict with where your friends are at, and sometimes it's in concert with them. But it's your friends who help you realize the best version of yourself and, at the same time, allow you to spread out from the group. We need our friends, but we also need to be who we are. A very true statement, and that's why the time jump is so important, because it emphasizes that after high school, they did indeed go on with their lives, for better or for worse. Number 1. Consequences. Kind of grimly to end it, the showrunner talked about how the ending will give answers and reflect the harsh truths of the series. There will be definitive answers to what really dismantled this group of friends, Lungerich told TV Guide. But where we leave off is the notion of, here are these kids who are banding together to save Caesar multiple times, and then it becomes they now have to save themselves, and it's kill or be killed. And they get to a place where they actually contemplate killing someone and then they don't have to. But the idea that they got to that place as a group of friends, I think takes a toll on all of them because they're all such good people. Fans will be watching every episode with anguish as they see how things fall out. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the 4th season of On My Block? Are you looking forward to what might come with Season 4? What are you personally hoping to see with the characters and story? How do you feel this show can grow in meaningful ways in Season 4? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.